Hello and welcome to this tutorial that we're going to be doing today, looking at the famous Mustang from the film Bullitt. In this tutorial we'll talk through live how we've designed the car, any problems that we've come across we'll correct as we go through, just giving you a good starting point to see how you can use Creo to come up with your own designs. So, like before on some of the others, the first thing I'm going to do is superimpose the side view of the car. So to do that, we click on View, Model Display, and down to Images. Now, we then need to click on the Import button, so my mouse is over that now. We click on Import, and I'm going to click the word that says Front. Now, from here, I've already set my working directory, so the side view of my car is in the working directory there. Now, you'll notice on this case, it's coming backwards. It's not an issue, we can easily fix that, so I'm just going to view it from the front, and all I've got to do is drag it. I can either drag it backwards and forwards, you see it flips, or we have the option to flip under rotate. So if you click the arrow underneath rotate, you have the options there, and then I'm just going to try my best to line this up and drag it out with the wheel arches that we've got there. So a little bit bigger. Try and work out roughly where we want it. So it's a little bit bigger because I don't want to lose all that front end there. I'm going to pop it. Try and get the front a bit more. So we're going to go back there. Obviously this front wheel arch here is a little bit out, but we can work with that. It's not too much a problem. So I'm now going to press OK. So I'm happy with the basic shape there. We're near enough on the back. We're near enough on the front. We're slightly out with the wheel arches, but it's not going to be too much of an issue. So I'm then going to click on Model. I'm going to first start off, just hit that one to get it into the center of the screen, so that's the refit button. I'm going to click on Extrude. I'm already on the front, so I'm just going to click over here on the model tree to the front. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace around this car. Now, like I said before, I prefer to use the line tool, so I'm just going to scroll in. Oops, so I can already see I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to just press delete segment. And it is a little bit of a curve there, but I'm just going to come off straight and go up and try and follow these lines. I'm not going to worry about the curves at the moment. I'm just looking to try and follow this shut line on the car. So scrolling in, using the refit button, I'm just trying to roughly get the lines I want to use. So refit again, zoom out. Now remember, sometimes you get this, you've got to be careful with where you're going with the bonnets. I've seen people make a few mistakes before now. And I'm just going to hit refit again so I can zoom in on this area a bit more. It needs to come out, down. Oh, I was nearly there. And we'll just connect that up. Now once I've connected it up, I want to go all the way across to my starting point. To get rid of the tail, that's a middle mouse click. I'm going to press select. So I can see my design there. I've just middle moused it there to bring it round. Press OK. Now you can always do this by eye, but I always like to constrain it. So I've pressed the depth button there. Go down to the bottom one, and I'm going to click that edge there and press OK. So that's going to give me the basic shape for the base of the car. and doesn't look too bad. I'm now going to do another extrude on the front again, and this time we're going to look at creating the rest of the profile. So I'm going to zoom into the back here. It pretty much does start right at the back. You bring it up. I'll put in that little notch for the back window, and I'm going to bring it down and then just reconnect back to my starting point. Doesn't matter about this shape because it's all going to disappear. I'll spin it around so you can see it in 3D as we do this. That refit button comes in handy again. Press the OK and drag it out. This time I'm going to pay a bit of attention. So it's 27 there. I'm going to take it down to 26 because it maybe actually 25. There is actually, it's a very, when I've looked at this car side on, or front on I should say, there's a very little movement there. So actually I'm going to stick with the 26. I'm just going to have that millimetre on there. Okay, so I'm going to save it at that point. I'm now going to go and apply my shell before I go too much further. So I'll click shell, I'm going to click on this back surface, I'm going to set it to 2 millimeters. Now we have to start softening this car off, and I'm going to do that with a few rounds. I'm also going to refer back to a couple of pictures I've got here, just so I can see where things are. So we notice it rounds in at the bottom there, and I've got some pictures and that to refer back to, which is always handy to have. So I'm going to start with trying to get this roof rounded off. So I'm going to click round, and I'm just going to spend some time softening off that round. I'll just do these one at a time this time, just to be just looking until we get something we're happy with. Now you can see there it's gone all the way through. It's blown through basically. So what I need to do is bring that back and make sure through the image we've got there I hold down my control key and click the inside, so both surfaces are rounded at the same time, just to give me that nicer feel to it. Now we've then got to round this edge, which may or may not work. I don't think it is going to work at the moment, so if we press cancel, and the reason it's not going to work is probably because of that back bit I've put in there. So we just have to see what we can do. Softened it out, it's rounded a bit more nicer now. Now I'll round that off. I'm then going to start on the next part of the car. So where before we had these lines, I'm going to work to smooth some of these out. Now I'm doing what they call sets this time, so it is actually rounding the different sets. And then I'm going to round the edge. Now the edge is going to only give me a very little round there, to about 1. I'll hold down control and just do the back edges. There we go. So I've got that round all the way to the front there. Now we'll go around and work on the back. So I am going to put a bigger round on this, see what I can get on there. So I'm just going to round that off. And probably just to keep it in line, round off back section there as well. And again, we know it's not going to be 100% perfect, but it's what we're trying to aim for. So now looking at the front, it has got a bit more of a struppier shape there. So I might have to do this using a warp. Let's see what we can just do with the rounds first of all. So I'll try and soften off. And sometimes it is a case of working out what you need to do in the correct order. So I'm thinking I've got to do something with that curve here first. Before I can work on the other parts. It just gives me a bit more of a rounded. Let's see if that will now match that up more. And then I want to take this bottom bit in quite a bit because it has got that rounded feel to it. You can notice I've blown through again there. So we just go back and edit it. Like we said, making sure, find out where it doesn't blow through. So I can just spin it around to the other side and find that alternative edge, which I think is going to be that one. So both should now round together. So if you round that round now, just check I wasn't on set 1. Set 1 we wanted to round a bit more like that. And I just need to round off this front bumper. Now what I have noticed about the Bullitt Mustang, which I'm not 100% sure with there, we need to do something with this bonnet just to pull it up. So I'm going to try and do that using the warp. So we're going to editing, warp, references, so the geometry is the whole piece, and then for direction I like to use the default, so it's that one there. It goes green, and I'm going to start off by using this end one, which is actually the warp feature, and it puts a grid on it, and we can now, because we've used that default, we can move our grid around to different surfaces. So I'm going to start by looking at that surface, and all I'm going to do is just push it in. You'll notice I can widen and move the car in and out. But what I also want to do, just try and find that back edge and just shrink this down. It's always the wrong one. Right, so I'm going to work on just this corner. So I'm going to add in some more columns and rows. So I've actually put quite a few in there because I want this front end to come in, but I don't want the wheel arch to be overly effective. And I'm just going to try and pull that until I've got more of a shape I'm happy with. So it's just tweaking slightly, you can see there. I'm not going to get it perfect. That front end's not perfect. I might go and take off this round. That's a bit better. So actually removing that round and then putting a smaller one on there is actually going to work better in the design. Now I also just want to raise this bonnet up a bit, so I'm going to do another round, sorry, not another round, another warp. References again onto this surface direction. Still going to use my default. And we're on the top plane there already. We can see what we're going to do. We're going to add some more rows and columns. And all I'm going to now be able to do is pick points on my bonnet and pull them up and down. Now you'll notice it does affect the whole thing, which can be a bit of a pain. Now we should be able now to drag up the bottom of that block. So I'm just looking with this piece where it's going to affect the top of the block, but it's going to sit above my wheel arches there. So if I do start to pull on these lines, we can see where it's going to have the effect and where it won't have an effect. So I can start now to pull up the shape I want to try and bring that front end a little bit more in line with the rest of the body. And it is a bit of a, so once I'm happy, I'll press OK. Obviously now I've got quite a high spot here, so I am going to just see if we can round some of that out of it. The back obviously needs a round on it there. So we're nearly there. I'm going to apply around to the side here again, so try and get the shot lines to match. You'll notice it has blown through, so I'm just going to spin it round, hold control. I'll do the back one there, time I, oops, I'll try and make sure I do this back one at the same time here, so that when I do that round, we're getting the same sort of idea. So don't know if I need a round on this front edge here or not. So let's just see what we can. Sometimes you think yes, sometimes you think no. And that's a problem with my warp there, so just going to have a look at warp 2. So I can go into it, edit it, and I think that line there needs to just be pulled down to keep it back into shape. Maybe I could try now rounding that one again. It might work, it might not. No, not going to get around in there. Let's just play back with that warp again. And I'm just going to try and drag that bit just a little bit up on this one. So where I can see that's going up, I'm just going to pull up the other lines just to try and match it in a bit more. Okay, so it's not looking overly too bad there. So what I will do is I'll cut out the wheel arches and mirror the rest of the car. So extrude again onto front. So I want to look at where my lines are. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw my baseline in all the way across, make a box, and then it's a case of pressing project, and we're going to project these inside of our wheel arches. This one there, and then the inside of that wheel arch, and then use the trimming tool, which is just below extrude there. My mouse is on it now. Delete line segment to cut out the bits we don't need, so we end up with that full shape, so it doesn't come up with not a closed boundary. So you can see it's purple there. Press the OK. Remove material. Now I don't know how big, so I'm just going to have a look at what the wheel arches were like on it. We've got some work to do on the headlights and things, but they actually look quite subtle. So when I round these over, I'm not putting really big wheel arches on it. I'm just going to put that sort of 1mm wheel arch on it there. Okay. Now the other thing we probably need to do is apply a round to this edge. Now probably what I should have done is done that before round 19, so I'm going to drag back in the timeline, click on the round tool and click these edges. So 1, hold down my control key, 2, oh, didn't get me on the control key, decided to do it as a new 3, 4, and then bring that in. Now what it's done is it put them all in sets, so just need to make sure each set is set to 9, 9, 9. Press OK. So when we zoom out, we can see that, and then we drag back into the next part. Oh, regeneration failed. Didn't like something. Looks like it doesn't like that internal. So what we do is we just delete that, and we try again. So we do rounds. Let's try that round of 1, 0.5. Don't think I'm going to get a round in there now because we've gone for the other way. So we will just put the rounds on the outside. Sometimes we do have to compromise with things. It's a shame that I can't get a round on there. Oh, we've done a 0.5 there. Let's just see if we can get a 1 on there. We can get a 1 on the back. It's funny how when you try and do these things that you always have to have some sort of idea of what you're doing. So that's pretty much the design of the car. All that's left to do is to mirror it over, so, and remove the image. So I'll remove the image first. So I'm going to go back to view, model display, images, so it's that bottom one. We're going to take that up to 100% so it disappears, and then model, blank block starter, mirror, and I'm going to put on the other side. Oh, we have a problem, so just cancel that a second. Blank block starter, mirror onto that plane. Now sometimes this will happen, and the reason it's happened is because of my warps. So what's basically happened is now on this side I haven't got a completely flat surface. So I'm just going to click on that front plane, click on extrude. I'm on the wrong side of it. I'm just going to cancel that, placement. Again, placement. I'm going to click define so I'll get the box come up this time. And I'm going to flip the direction. And then sketch. So now you can see I'm on the back side of it. I'm going to draw a plane all the way over. I'm going to do remove material. And you just see it was a little bit out. So now I'll do my mirror onto the side. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we now get our car. And you could then add the bits that you want onto it. Maybe me warp at the front there is a bit much. If that's the case, I have got now, I can see the whole thing, the ability to pull it back out a little bit and define them parts. And basically have a look at what's going on. Now, the only thing I'm noticing, it does seem I have got a slight issue on the front here with that mirroring. So I'll just tidy that up again, making sure that I remove everything I don't need. So I'm going to project the lines I've used. This button here will just spin it back around so I can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm not 100% sure why it's done this, but there you go. Sometimes these things happen. Where connect one side to the other. I'll trim off that line, hopefully, goes purple. Move material in both directions should work. Oops. No. Doesn't seem to want to like that bit. Okay. Okay, so I was sat there wondering why I had this funny bit on the top there. All it was on Extrude 6, because of that warp, it pushed it both sides again. I needed to make sure the front end, that the extrude went in both directions. So that's taken out that warp. You could then go and start thinking about adding the other detail to it, but I'll leave it there as the basic design. I will just try and add a bit of colour to it. So paint, it has got a slightly metallic. Now it was called something like Storm Grey or something along them lines. So I'm going to try and recreate the paint code for the Mustang. So I'm going to start with this metallic green, and then I'll go to edit model appearances. I'm going to edit the colours to what I've got here, so 05638, so 05638. Maybe we need to take the metallic off. Oh no, it needs that metallic in there. Not 100% perfect, but I'll put a little bit of chrome on the front just to finish, and then we'll leave that there at the end of this tutorial. So chrome, just hold down that control key, just turn the real time rendering off so I can just see what I'm doing here. both sides. Press OK. There's a bit of chrome on the front. I think we need to do the chrome bumper on the back, so it's probably that part that needs to be chromed. It was almost an integral back bumper. Let's just put it into isometric. View it up a little bit there. Zoom in a bit, and we'll just have a look at how that renders. So, real-time rendering. We're getting something. Maybe it's a bit too shiny on the chrome, but anyway, there we go. Thanks for watching. I hope that was useful.